Hey everyone, hope you're all doing well. I apologize, I'm actually sitting in a car. My husband is having some fingerprints done today, so I'm waiting outside for him to try and be safe and not be around everybody. So just wanted to go over last week and then this week, and then we'll be done. So um, last week we talked a bit about the legal and ethical impacts of data analytics. There are lots of them, especially when you're thinking about predictive analytics, which we had talked about the week before, I believe. Predictive analytics um, has with it and artificial intelligence based on predictive analytics or predictive analytic data really has a lot of potential ethical implications. You know, the base of those is kind of taking jobs away from people, so there's an ethical dilemma there, but also the notion of um, the potential of error in computers and computing with artificial intelligence. There's a multitude of different things, obviously, that we had kind of looked at last week a little bit. Also, you finished up your final projects. If you have not turned in your self and peer assessment, I know I got a ton of them. I have not gone through them yet, but if you have not turned it in, please email that to me, and I'll be reviewing those this week. So this week, week 8, remember, we're done on Friday. The week only goes through Friday, but you don't really have much, just your discussions and the ed puzzle to do this week, plus obviously your reading. So this week we're going to be looking at natural language processing and mHealth. So mHealth actually, as you look at the mHealth information, you'll likely see how applicable that is to our current times, because that's how we're really living with mHealth. In order to get health care, unless you are very sick and have coronavirus, you're likely receiving health care through mHealth technologies. So very timely topic there. Natural language processing is really more about the use of the written word and the spoken word, and turning that into actionable items based on the use of artificial intelligence. So really cool stuff. I think we're going to see more and more of that as we move forward. One of the applications, probably one of the first applications of natural language processing in in healthcare was the notion of computer assisted coding. So one of the biggest applications of that. So computer assisted coding, coding being medical coding. So when quite a few years ago, we kind of went to these formatted, more templated notes in medical records, a lot of data being typed in as opposed to the written word, those types of things. And so with that standardization, what they were able to do is build systems that were artificially intelligent, smart computer systems that learned over time and that could look at this narrative data and turn that into the codes that are required for reimbursement purposes. So ICD-10 codes, CPT codes, these might be terms that you've heard of before if you're currently working in the field or if you had some interest in coding and compliance. But the natural language processing is that process, taking that written word and turning it into actionable data. In this case, the computer decides what the codes are, which really is much cheaper than paying coders. Coders make very good money, and also is much more efficient because they're much faster than coders. The problem is they're not 100% accurate. So although it is taking the jobs of some medical coders, it's not taking the jobs of all of them because they are never 100% accurate. And instead of coders coding, coders in places that use these systems, coders are actually verifying codes. So there's still room for work in the coding field, but it is diminishing somewhat over what it was in the past. We do have a discussion about mHealth. So some of the different mHealth applications other than telehealth. So obviously telehealth is what we're probably most familiar with, but there are plenty of other mHealth applications. So please take a look at that. And then the second discussion is really optional. There are no points associated, but just give feedback on the class, information that we can use. I also would encourage you to fill out the survey that comes from RMU, but this is more of a personal feedback thing. When I go to teach this class again in the future, I'll refer back to what you shared here and make changes to the course based on what you liked, what you didn't like, etc. So very helpful feedback for me there. So that's all I've got. Again, remember, we're done on Friday. I do want to thank everyone for persevering through this term. It's certainly been difficult at best, and worse than difficult at times. So I hope everyone is safe and healthy out there. If you're not taking summer classes, have a good summer off and try and enjoy yourself when we get to the point where we really can. And if we're stuck inside for many more weeks, at least try and take some time for self-care. Get out and walk, sit out on your back deck or your front porch or whatever. Really take some time to care for yourself in the middle of this fiasco. So everyone stay safe and healthy. If you have any questions this week, please let me know. And I'll see everyone in the fall, hopefully. If you are one of the lucky folks that is graduating, either this term or summer, I don't think that we have any in this class, but if we do, congrats. And remember that we're here for you if you ever need anything. And we do have that great master's program here as well. So feel free to come back and take us up on that at some point. So that's all I've got. Talk to you all soon. Thanks.